Honorable members of Congress, today we address you directly as Veterans United for D.C. Statehood. We speak for 30,000 D.C. veterans in the District of Columbia who have served our country with honor, and for 710,000 loyal Americans who have made Washington, D.C. their home. Once, we served with honor and valor as a military force of warriors in the killing fields of war to defend freedom and safeguard America. Today, we serve as a moral force of loyal veterans united for D.C. statehood to defend freedom and restore the rights and equality of the American people in the District of Columbia. Today, our veterans want to discuss with you why statehood is our call to freedom in Washington, D.C.
Oh Lord, we come to you this morning. We come right now as veterans, realizing, God, that if it had not been for you in our lives, where would we be? We thank you, God, for protecting us and keeping us both locally, nationally, and internationally. Oh God, and we send a call out right now, God, on behalf of the veterans of D.C., that we touch those veterans who came to the Capitol and tried to insurrect us, that we send a call out to them right now, that they need to correct that wrong. Oh God, on behalf of those veterans and the 750 residents of the District of Columbia, that we, oh God, stand together, united as one force on behalf of the residents of the District of Columbia. Bless this gathering and keep us, oh God, as we go through this program. These things we ask in your Son's name. Amen.
My name is Frank Smith, and I'm the founding director of the African American Civil War Memorial, at which we stand today in Washington, D.C. Here we gathered with 230 representatives of the Veterans Association of Washington, D.C., representing 30,000 veterans who served this country. Behind us are 209,000 veterans who served in the Civil War, joined President Abraham Lincoln in the war to end slavery, to correct a great wrong in American history. And that was the wrong of slavery and the mistreatment of African Americans. Today we're talking about another great wrong in history, which is the wrong that denies the people of the District of Columbia voting rights in the Congress, the right to elect our own representatives to the governorship and to the Senate and other places like that. And so we call upon the Congress of the United States to correct this wrong. You have it within your power to do so at this time. It's about time to do the right thing. Thank you very much.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous height o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does for the land of the free, for the home of the brave.
That's wonderful.
Good morning. I'm Georgia E. I am born and raised in Washington, D.C. I'm a 15 years Army veteran, got out as a captain. So why do I want to see D.C. as a statehood? Well, we deserve it. As a disabled, 100% disabled veteran, there are benefits that other states get, and we in D.C. do not get it. Not only are we lacking representation, but we cannot get the benefits that we fought for this country, for Washington, as well as any other state. If I could give my life, give up time, stay away from my family to defend other states, why can't D.C. be a state and I defend them? Why can't our children that's coming up today, going forward into the military, still fighting for freedom, a freedom that we still do not have? Yes, out of 30,000 plus veterans in Washington, D.C., they deserve representation. They deserve the extra funding that comes from Congress when you are a state. Yes, we deserve the right to speak up, be heard, and be recognized. As a state, we would get that. As a veteran in Washington, D.C., I would get the same rights as other veterans, especially disabled veterans like myself. Statehood, give it to us. We want it now. We waited long enough. Now is the time. Freedom is not free, but I fought for a freedom that I still do not have. Thank you, and I look forward to your doing what's right. 51st State, Washington, D.C. Thank you.
Bring greetings and salutations from Veterans United for Statehood for D.C., fighting and defending our freedom for the people of Washington, D.C. It is my belief that the denial of equal congressional voting rights to the citizens of Washington, D.C. is a serious human rights violation. It places the United States in contravention of numerous international human rights treaties and agreements, including the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Antoinette Scott. I'm born and raised in Washington, D.C. I served in the United States Army. I also served in Iraq in 2003, where I was injured by an explosion, fighting for our freedom and fighting for our rights, not only in our country, but in our capital city of Washington, D.C., where we are not a state, even though we have representation. We pay taxes, but we don't have the freedom to choose where those taxes are spent. We have the highest number, or we pay the highest amount in taxes, in federal taxes, let me be clear, but we do not have a right or say of where those taxes or how those taxes are dispersed. Our taxation without representation has gone on far too long. I implore you to do the right thing. In my opinion, the question is not should we be a state, but why are we not a state? United States Congress, it's time for you to step up and do what's right for the citizens of Washington, D.C. We deserve to be a state. Thank you.
Good morning. My name's David Luria. I'm an 85-year-old veteran of the U.S. Army and a citizen of D.C. Today I want to talk to you about fairness. Fairness is what we all experienced in the military when we had to do push-ups. You remember push-ups? Push-ups is what they gave us when they thought we did something wrong and we hadn't done anything wrong, and they made us do the 50 push-ups, and the guy next to you didn't have to do the push-ups. It wasn't fair. We knew about fairness. We learned about fairness and unfairness when we were in the military. So what we've got here in the District of Columbia is a situation that is clearly unfair. It is not fair that 700,000 people in this country are denied their voting representation in the Congress. I meet a lot of people from other countries, and they tell me they can vote in their parliaments when they're from Paris or London or Canberra or Oslo. They can vote in their parliaments. Why can't you guys vote in your parliament? And I try to come up with an explanation, and it's absolutely ridiculous. There is no good explanation for the situation that exists in our country. And so I appeal to all of us who are veterans and to all of us who are citizens. We need our basic human right of representation in our Congress. Give voting rights and statehood to the people of the District of Columbia. Thank you.
My fellow Washingtonians and D.C. veterans, my name is Robert Vincent Branham, a retired Air Force veteran. Permit me to share from the words of the distinguished Frederick Douglass from his memorable speech, The Meaning of July 4th for the Negro. I am not wanting in my respect and admiration for my ancestors in the fight for freedom, justice, voting rights, and democracy. They will forever be remembered as great pathfinders. Their legacy will forever be the light of our path out of the District of Columbia's dark tunnel of no statehood. My fellow Washingtonians and D.C. veterans, let me ask and answer this question. What does D.C. statehood mean to me? It means to walk down roads of freedom. It means to wake up in the morning to the bright sunshine of justice. It means to swing a mighty bat for the right to vote. It means to feel, to breathe the righteous, the moral, and the good air of democracy. My fellow Washingtonians, D.C. veterans, Americans, and members of Congress, from the Piedmont Plateau in Alabama to Bighorn River in Wyoming, now is the time for D.C. statehood. From west of the park to mid-city to east of the river to America's nation's capital, it is time for D.C. statehood. America, 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 our country, 'tis of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee we sing, and where our veteran ancestors died. Land of the District of Columbia's pride. From Chevy Chase to Georgetown, to LaDroit Park to Bloomingdale, to Marshall Heights, to Congress Heights, to Anacostia. Now is the time for D.C. statehood. From the sounds of go-go music to half smokes to mumbo sauce. Now is the time for D.C. statehood. Now is the time. Bless you.
Charlotte Johnson, retired from the U.S. Army. We, the residents of the District of Columbia, have been fighting for statehood for years for several reasons. I would like to emphasize that we in the district have taxation without representation. Congress reviews all laws passed by the D.C. Council. The municipal budget must be approved by Congress, and the district has non-voting delegates in Congress. Thus, the district has no voting representation yet. We pay tax. We also deserve 2 voting seats in the Senate. We, the District of Columbia citizens, deserve to be given the rights, privileges, and status that all states are given. Residents of the District of Columbia should be a state without delay.
Hello, I'm James Sidnor, a proud Washingtonian who served 22 years in the military as a United States Marine. For a significant amount of years, the people of D.C. have worked for D.C. statehood to ensure equality for the over 700,000 Americans who live here. We have fulfilled all the responsibilities of citizenship. We pay our taxes. We have fought and died in our country's wars, yet we have no voting representation in Congress. Taxation without representation is just plain wrong. Some folks say D.C. should not be a state because we're too small, or we have too much power by being so close to the Capitol, or that we're too progressive. The following are a few of the challenges the citizens of D.C. face, amplifying the importance of becoming a state. The U.S. Attorney for D.C. is a federal appointee who is not subject to local oversight, prosecuting more violations of D.C. criminal law, not the D.C. Attorney General, who are residents elected. The challenge is federal prosecutorial priorities may not be in keeping with the priorities and values of the residents of D.C. D.C. must wait on Congress to fill local judicial vacancies. Currently, there are 9 vacancies in the Superior Court and 2 vacancies in the Court of Appeals. 1 seat has been vacant since November 2013. This infringes on the constitutional rights of D.C. residents to procedural due process, which is one of the 2 categories of the 14th Amendment. D.C. cannot set aside local Medicaid dollars to pay for abortion services as some states do. This affects the ability of women who are victims of rape to be pro-choice. D.C. government allows incarcerated residents with felony conviction to vote, but the Federal Bureau of Prisons was slow to share information about eligible voters with the District of Columbia Board of Elections so they could submit ballots in 2020. This is a clear case of voter suppression. Including these challenges, there are a total of 51 reasons why the people of D.C. know for sure that statehood means equality for all. Thank you.
My name is Roland Emerson Roebuck. Served in the U.S. Air Force from 1969 to 1973. Afro-Puerto Rican. I wish to thank my brother Hector Rodriguez for allowing us to come here today and speak on the quest for securing statehood for the District of Columbia. Previous veterans have already stated the numerous reasons for this constitutional change. I wish to present why we are not securing the status in D.C. is the following reasons.
we are a minority city. Congressional leaders from Republican states are not interested in granting statehood because it will alter the power balance in Congress with 2 Democratic leaders. Sadly, many of these leaders have not served in the armed forces, but are empowered to negate the right to us veterans who participated in many wars, advancing democracy in other regions, but that democratic principle is denied in the District of Columbia. We are hopeful that under the Biden administration, we'll be able to advance our noble cause. Many of us have seen combat and carry mental and physical scars, but the fight to secure democratic rights is a battle that we have to fight barehanded with all our hearts and souls. Muchísimas gracias.
Good morning, our congressmen, our senators, representatives from all over the United States, and our congresswoman who has no vote in Congress, Eleanor Norton Holmes. I'm here today as a veteran, having served in the United States Army from 1968 to 1974. Understand the plight and the issues of combat far away. I come back to the United States, in 1974. This world's a different place. The United States is open to receiving veterans. However, when I come here, I cannot come to a state. I tell people that are coming to this Washington, D.C., welcome to Washington, D.C. How does it feel to come in here, relinquish all your voting rights, representation rights, and not allowing, the freedoms, that we, us veterans, today and in the past, have laid down for you and all our families throughout the country, and those who are stationed around the world. I came here today to request and plead with you, the United States Congress and the United States Senate, to deeply consider, the responsibility of stewardship and reward of statehood in Washington, D.C. I pray that you'll hear us and every one of us today, the veterans' families, and the cries and the pleas of those veterans that gave it all. And in prayer, I pray that you will hear them and hear us today. D.C., statehood, 51st state. God bless you. God bless America.
Good morning to those that this message is intended for. My name is Jordanetta Porter, and I am a 25-year Armed Force veteran retired. I'm here to speak on the pros and the cons of an approved 51st state of America. There are many. This is such a significant area and territory, and without voting rights, and there's no representation. Of all the states in the Union, I ask why. Why is D.C. denied the voting rights? Why is D.C. denied the representation that it so strongly desire? There are two other states D.C. is more populated than on the northeast coast of the country, but yet they have representation. The veterans of D.C. has made and paid the ultimate price. The ultimate sacrifice has given life and limbs. And yet, we stand without the voting rights and representation. The ultimate pro and message here is the citizens and the veterans. They want the statehood. Please consider this. Thank you.
Specialist 4, Anthony Motley, United States Army, 82nd, 101st Airborne. In 1776, this America became the United States of America. There were 13 colonies, who later became 13 states. My, have we not grown? So we have shown as an America, we can grow up. So we now have 50 states. So that shows that evolution can happen. We need the D.C., the District of Columbia, to become the 51st state of the United States of America. As a young man growing up in east of the river, Ward 8, I remember when my parents were excited about the first time that they were able to vote for the President of the United States. That was John F. Kennedy. My, have we not grown? And then in 1969, I took an oath when I became a military serviceman to defend the United States and the Constitution of America. My, have I grown up? I served from 69 to 73. I didn't even have a vote in Congress. But I could travel around the world. Went to Turkey, Panama, stayed right here in the United States, Fort Bragg, Fort Campbell, Fort Jackson. They could vote, but D.C., we couldn't vote. And so here we are today, as men and women who have served. It is time for us to have a vote in Congress, to be a vote to have a senator and a representative duly elected. And being able to vote is so important. And so we are the veterans of D.C., and we stand together, united. D.C., 51st state of the United States of America.
Anise? That's okay.
Hoorah! My name is Kifa Santari, and I'm taking off my mask. My name is Kifa Santari. I'm a retired Marine. I am an Operation Iraqi Freedom Combat vet. Today, I hold the same Digi Desert Boonie on my head that I wore during my time in Iraq during 2004. I got the word Senator embroidered on the back of my boonie in both English and Arabic. I remember the embroidery shop was right next to the makeshift KFC where many of us would go to get a break from the ready-to-eat field meals, also known as MREs, and a hot chow from the newly erected mess hall. I went there for the first time during some downtime I had while at Camp Al-Assad after the first Battle of Fallujah. At the time, I wasn't a Washingtonian, so as much as I would like to say me getting the word senator embroidered on my boonie was me making a statement about DC's well-deserved statehood, but I can't. However, I was intentional about projecting my desire for the Iraqi people to experience the same full level of democracy that I thought we had here. To me then, and how I still feel now, senators or the Senate is one of the most beautiful institutions in the United States. Think about it. In the eyes of the Senate, every state has 2 members. Every state, despite their landmass, has equal representation. Every state, despite its population, has a junior and senior representative. Every state, despite its political leaning or ideological perspective, send 2 individuals to preserve their state's rights. I wanted the Iraqis to find a way to give an equal voice to all of their territories. I wanted the Iraqi government to provide a forum where the Sunni, Shia, and Kurds had equal representation and could work towards a more perfect union. I was ready to give my life for my faith and love for democracy and equal representation. I want the same now for the 700,000 plus district residents. Like many who serve in OIF, we fought to bring the beliefs and values of democracy to a foreign country. I am so proud to be amongst my brothers and sisters in arms today as we demand our beloved country extend full democracy here to our home in the District of Columbia today.
Hello, my name is Anise Jenkins. I'm proud to be here with the Veterans United for DC Statehood. I must say that I am not a military veteran. I am a veteran of the fight for the rights of the District of Columbia. I started over 20 years ago to achieve DC to become the 51st state. There is no reason why we should not be the 51st state. We pay the highest federal taxes per person in the country. We do everything that citizens of this country do, but we are not given the rights. We are not actual citizens. We are not treated as citizens of this country. We don't have representation in the House or the Senate. We have to free DC. Statehood now. We are not taking this disrespect from the United States Congress anymore. We're going to get out in the streets. We're going to continue to protest. I found out when the control board took over Washington, D.C., and all the rights of the government of the District of Columbia, that it had a right to do so. The fence that is surrounding the United States Capitol because of the violent insurrection that was in January 6th prevents us from delivering our local approved legislation to the Congress. Phil Mendelson, the chair of the council, said we have to get our legislation over that fence. I don't know if we did or not, but that's wrong. It's no reason why we should not live as other people in states live. When their local government passes a law, it should be a law. I say free DC, statehood now, and I respect the veterans of United for Statehood. Yeah.
Good morning. I am Barbara Pittman. I am a third generation. Okay, you want to see my lip? Okay. Good morning. I am Barbara Pittman. I am a third generation Washingtonian. I was born in Washington, D.C. As a matter of fact, I was born in Freeman Hospital, which is literally 3 blocks from where we're recording. I attended D.C. public schools, received my undergraduate degree in D.C., and was appalled to learn that the residents of Washington, D.C. have lost their sovereignty and their democratic rights. I chose to serve in the United States Air Force, and upon retirement discovered that my representative, Eleanor Holmes Norton, is considered a delegate. However, she cannot vote on legislation when it comes to the House floor. As a district resident, I also lack representation in the U.S. Senate. I have heard that D.C. is too small to be a state. Pure nonsense. Our population is the same as Wyoming and Vermont. Washington, D.C.'s founding is enshrined in the Constitution, which provides that the district not exceeding 10 miles square will become the seat of the government of the United States. For a brief period after the city's creation in 1790, our residents enjoyed voting rights and could cast ballots as residents of Maryland and Virginia. But those rights shortly ended after Congress moved into town and the new Capitol was built in the 1800s. Since all local D.C. legislation must be approved by Congress, approximately 700,000 residents of D.C. pay the highest per capita federal income taxes in the country. Yet we have no voting power to determine how our money is spent. The residents of Washington, D.C. deserve to be represented like all the other U.S. citizens. This is 2021, people. Washington, D.C. is not a state because the founders did not want there to be competing political interests in the Capitol. This is also the reason that D.C. does not have the right to vote for a president until the 20th century. In November 3rd, 1964, the residents of D.C. cast their ballots at a presidential election for the first time. It was the passage of the 23rd Amendment in 1961 that gave the citizens of the nation's capital right to vote for a commander-in-chief and vice president. This is unacceptable to someone who has served in Japan, Korea, the Philippines, Germany, and many places in the United States. They're treating us like second-class citizens. We demand D.C. statehood now.
Members of the United States Congress, the people of Washington, D.C. are a wounded but heroic people. Wounded because as citizens, veterans, and patriots, we are denied equal representation and our vote in the Congress of the United States. Heroic people because we have fought in every war for our nation's freedom and won more medals of honor for valor than any other state. Wounded because we are not treated as equal citizens and are segregated from the American people. We are heroic because we pay our taxes willingly in spite of the denial of our participation to plan our national economy. We pay more taxes than 20 states in the Union. We are wounded because we're not free. We are held as political prisoners by the very people who sent us to war and whose very freedom we have defended and died for in the killing fields of war. We are heroic because we have bonded as a society and created an amazing local government which welcomes and serves over 24 million people per year. We are wounded by the betrayal of those who will not free us. But we're heroic because in spite of our wounds, we continue to be loyal trustees of our beloved nation. We have faith, members of Congress, that there are heroic American patriots in your 117th Congress, and that you will come forth and free our people. God bless America.